Hey traders, John Howell here, and today's video, Mark Cuban actually recently come out and did a video, and he said that today's Nasdaq stock market looks very similar to the dot-com bubble. So I'm going to share with you exactly what he said on the video, and also what the exactly charts are saying as well too, and what I think about the Nasdaq. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader.
Let's turn back to the markets a little bit and just the trend that we've seen recently of the Nasdaq, very recently, and I just mean in the last week, the Nasdaq kind of gave back some of the gains that it had picked up. It was the S&P and the Dow that did better last week. What do you think about technology stocks here? What do you think about growth stocks versus value stocks?
I think people are just chasing performance. I mean, it's a momentum-based market. You know, I don't think this is a fundamentals-driven market, and it hasn't been since the Fed intervened. You know, I think people are trying to say, what's next? Where's all the money going to go next? And then they try to get ahead of that. And then that plays out. Then they go back to where they were with tech. We've seen this many, many times before. And, you know, and it's just part of what happens in a bull market.
You lived through 1999. Do you think this is anything like that when you say momentum and just chasing momentum and getting away from it? Or is this very different because you see a lot of these companies like a Microsoft and Amazon that really have been putting up some numbers too?
You know, in some respects, it's different because of the Fed and the liquidity they've introduced and the inflation for financial assets that comes with that. But on a bigger picture, it's so similar. I mean, I had my 18-year-old niece asking me, you know, what stock she should invest in because her friends are making 30% per day, you know, and other people just randomly asking me that never look at stocks at all, what stocks that they should invest in. You know, everybody's a genius in a bull market, and everybody's making money right now because you've got the Fed put. And, you know, that brings people in who otherwise wouldn't participate. You've got all the free traders, you know, what would have been the analogous to the day traders of the late 90s that can come in and trade for free. They can trade fractionalized stocks. So it's easy for them to, you know, put in a little bit of money, look and see that they're up 30%, you know, that they've made, relatively speaking, a lot of money for themselves. And that's going to keep them participating. And so, yeah, I think we're very similar to what's going on in the 1990s. And, you know, as I look at my portfolio, which is still very heavy on Amazon and Netflix, I have to keep on reminding myself that the internet bubble lasted multiple years. You know, it went from 1995 to early 2000. And so it wasn't like, oh, we're in a bubble, then all of a sudden the bubble is over months later. It lasted for years. And so it's difficult to have patience sometimes and recognize that there's still a lot of money that can come in and chase that performance. You know, people tell their friends, hey, look at how much money I'm making. You know, my niece and her friends, you know, other kids that I know are asking me questions on TikTok about stocks. And so it's different, but it's so analogous in so many ways, but we still have to be patient. It doesn't mean it's going to end tomorrow.
So what did you tell your 18-year-old niece to do?
I said, there's a reason why people sell you that stock, and it's not because they think the price is going up, you know, and so you've always got to be careful and understand what you're doing. And then the second thing I told her, if you do it and you make money, the only way you get to keep that money is by cashing out. Don't get greedy. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And so I said, you know, this is a little bit different, but this is also a chance for you to learn how the market works and how companies work. So if you are willing to take the time, I'm happy to help you.
Yeah, you want to be an investor, not a trader, though, right? You don't want to
Well,
sell
in
out
this market,
everything
you
as
can
soon
be
as
a
it makes
trader,
money.
but yeah, in this market, you can be a trader, but longer term, traders typically end up losing all their money. And so you want to be an investor longer term and understand what you're doing.
Mark Cuban was talking about how what we're seeing right now is very, very similar to the 2000 and to the 1999 tech bubble. And we can see on this chart here, this is a monthly chart of the Nasdaq. And if I go back in time and look at the actual Nasdaq bubble, we can see exactly what it looked like before coming down and retracing 100% of the bubble, because that's what bubbles do. They tend to go up really, they tend to go up very, very fast. And then they tend to retrace pretty much 100% of where the bubble started. So the question for you guys is, where do you think we are right now in the actual Nasdaq? Do you think we're at 1999 towards the end of the top, or do you think we are at or do you think we're just at, say, do you think we're down the bottom here, and the Nasdaq's pretty much going to keep going up from now? It's so hard for me to stay very, very long-term bullish in the markets, as Mark Cuban was saying, that you want to be a long-term investor in the markets. I don't believe you should be doing that. I think some of the miners or the silver, gold, and some of those things are much more beneficial. That's just what I think. But you know, with there's so many companies out there going,
I declare bankruptcy!
And just a lot of stuff happening out there right now. I just can't see how this is going to keep going on for a few years or more, even though with the Fed there going in. So what do you guys think below? Let me know what you think below in the chat box below. Do you think that we are going to do you think we're gonna keep going up here on the Nasdaq? This is, once again, this is the Nasdaq weekly chart here, and this has just been pretty much vertical. This is pretty much the biggest vertical move we have seen in the last sort of 10 years, and that's what's making me very, very cautious about where we are right now. And if this is a bubble, we know that it's probably likely to retrace 100% of it. But as Mark Cuban said, there could be a lot more people going into this market when it comes to the Nasdaq, these tech stocks, and so on and so forth. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this. And if you really like this, then make sure you join my next free training with the link below. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll speak to you soon.